Welcome back to the Radio Academy podcast. I'm your host, Georgie Jameson, and it's time to get your Radio Academy summer shorts on. As over August, we're revisiting some best bits, highlights, and previously unheard footage in bite-sized podcasts for your summer listening. This week is our last summer shorts, and we're revisiting the 4 Meet the Fellows podcasts from January. We'll hear thoughts on the radio and podcast industry from Nina Robinson, CEO and founder of Soundtruism Productions, Ray Paul, the founder of the Playmaker Group, Sheena Mason, Deputy Content Director at Magic Radio, and Matt Deegan, Director of Folder Media and Podcast Discovery. RMD Aradna Tile Leach chatted with all 4 fellows, and we'll hear from Ray, Sheena and Matt in that order in a moment. But we start with Nina Robinson, and Aradna asked her what advice she would give to someone who was just coming out of a media course or wanted to get into an audio career.
So I've been concentrating on trying to give quite practical help. So I asked them to send me their CV so that I can look at, and then send them make changes to make it more impactful. So I'm shocked that actually a lot of the CVs, they've done amazing things, but they don't realise that that is what they need to, big up. That is their USP that makes them who they are. And so that's what I try and do, is look at how they might, how to brand themselves better, how to talk about themselves, so that first of all their CV and covering letter gets some sort of face time, and then secondly to just try and give encouragement. But I'm not going to say it's a really tough kind of thing out there. There's people with loads of experience who are going for those kinds of positions. It's really difficult, but it's about trying to kind of set yourself apart from the crowd.
And looking ahead to those people who have been in the industry a few years, what advice do you give to those people who are having successful careers in the industry and just looking to make that next step?
Well, I think that there are a lot more opportunities for journalists and also setting up interviews. So there are a lot of podcast production companies who are requiring freelance support. So, it's worth getting in contact with them to kind of find out if there's any ad hoc projects that you might be able to work on. And also, I think a lot of the successful producers are branding themselves. They've got their own websites. They're kind of freelancing with different projects, because a lot of it is sometimes quite ad hoc. So, rather than kind of just thinking, oh, I need to get my foot in the door at the BBC, which was always a traditional path. There is more kind of portfolio careers, trying to just work on different projects and building your brand that way.
Mentoring is something that's really important to us at the Radio Academy and in our industry. What can people do to reach out and find a mentor?
I mean, I think it's easier now than it's ever been. Had I not gone for an internship, I wouldn't have known. It's not like I had the internet to go and say, who is the head of BBC GLR? Now I think it's a lot easier, and a lot of the youngsters have good research skills. They just don't understand and put it in the context. I think it's about knowing what you want to do. One of the things that I'm really keen on in the company is being best in class. For me, it's very important that the legacy of work that you do isn't quantitative, but it's always qualitative. And I always strive to make sure that the young people who come in know that you're working at network level. And if you're working at network level, it means that you have to be the best or strive to be the best. And if your editing skills aren't good enough, 20 quid a month for an Adobe package to go and sit at home and do that and get better and keep getting better. And if you choose in life choices, you choose to go out and party instead and spend 20 quid on that, then that's a choice you've made. You don't really want to be the best. And unfortunately, that's how it is. It's a very competitive market, and you have to want to be the best. The other thing is, I think it's about range. One of the things that we try to do at PMG is we like to pop up in places that we aren't expected. So, we've made programs for the World Service, 5 Live, Radio 4, 6 Music, Radio 2, Radio 1, and 1 Extra. It's only Radio 3 is the only network we haven't worked with from a BBC perspective, but we've also a program for all 3 KISS networks, Capital Extra. For us, it's about understanding the editorial landscape. And it's important that my team do understand that. And again, it's a very old school way of doing things, but, you know, we sometimes in our meetings look at a particular story and we'll say, well, what would be the treatment on Radio 4? And what would be the treatment on Radio 1? And why is there a difference? And how is there a difference? And how would we do it? And what would we add to it? And that sort of stuff. So I think in terms of finding mentors, I think it's about, there has to be a hunger and a passion from the person who is trying to find a mentor that stands out to the mentor. A lot of the people who work for us now started with very minimal radio experience, but they had an unquantifiable hunger and desire.
How do you help support and develop people coming in? And what kind of skills are you looking for now as we've evolved?
I think when people come in, they're a lot more skilled than I was probably when I started, because there's a lot more out there now for them to kind of learn with student radio before they kind of get into the industry. So they're a little bit more savvy than I would have been when I started. I think it's just always good to be someone that people can come and talk to and ask advice from without kind of saying, well, this is how we do it and just do it like that. It's very much kind of, there's a problem. How can I help you find a solution to the problem? Or how can I help you to move forward with the project? And trying to give people the confidence to use their skills and have a voice, I think is the important thing, rather than it just being do as you're told. And sometimes you do need to say, please, can you just get this done because it needs doing? But I think it's just showing that encouragement and trying to help people progress with their skills. Again, kind of when I started, it was a bit more of, you could do a little bit more of everything across the board. Whereas I think now, because of the way the industry's gone, it has to be a little bit more focused on particular areas. So I think it's just being there and knowing that they can come and talk to you and just have a chat, whether it's your experience they're looking for or just help with a certain problem.
What do you think really makes a radio show or a podcast stand out today when there's so much choice for people to find the music that they want?
I think it's tough getting that kind of share of voice in the market. As you say, there is so much out there, and it's sort of quite funny. Everyone talks about that thing of we all need our own carpool karaoke. Where's our thing that's going to stand out? And it is difficult to get that because you need that longevity and repeatable format of something to really cut through with your audience. I think if you really want cut through, and certainly in the podcast market, you've got to find where's your niche, where's the thing that you're doing that's not the same as everybody else. If I'm looking up a particular topic on a podcast, I'm going to find 5, 6, 7. So what is it that's going to draw me to your one that's slightly different from something that's already out there in the market?
I just wanted to find out how you manage your own time. So juggling all these many, many different hats and businesses and partnerships, and then managing all of the different teams to deliver. How do you fit it all in?
I think the easy answer is I don't sometimes. It's not magical. It's some things need more focus than others at different times. Yeah, the Fun Kids operation is quite a large operation, does a lot of different things. It's a relatively small team, but there's probably sort of 20 people that are involved in that sort of each week, some full-time, some part-time. There's things that I'm kind of more responsible for with Fun Kids. Muxco is a multiplex business, has a big focus for me and Greg because it generates quite a lot of money, but it's quite complicated. There are lots of transmitters on lots of hills across the country. There are lots of service providers. Some are fairly stable, your kind of BBCs and globals. Some are new people that are trying things out and needs to spend some time with those people, seeing how they're doing, adding new people to the multiplexes. It's a large kind of going concern that has a focus. Myself and Matt Hill, we sold the Podcast Awards business last year to Haymarket, and we're sort of have set up a marketing company called Podcast Discovery and have been focused on staffing that up, really. And that's the team, supporting the team there who are getting on kind of building that business. And again, it requires different skills and different amount of my time to help do that. I think finding good people and good teams is essential. essential for all of these things, and trying our best to give the support to the team. Sometimes we're very good at that, and sometimes we're not so good at that, and different people require different things. Across all the businesses, I try and think a lot about who's working for us and what they're doing, and are we tapping into their talents? Are we giving them the right skills? How do we help them fit in? And I'm always, very disappointed if sometimes we can't get that to work. Not every person that you add to a business is perfect for you, or you for them. But I love the relationship with the presenters. I still stay quite involved with what the presenters are doing and what their career journeys are, and who our next kind of wave of Fun Kids presenters. I think we've created something where those people go on to do very interesting things in radio and media, and we're a great training ground for them.
Lovely to hear that advice and wisdom again from our fellows, Nina Robinson, Ray Paul, Sheena Mason and Matt Deegan. There'll be new fellows announced at this year's Radio Academy Festival on the 18th of September. You can find out all about who's speaking on the day, the amazing sessions you can experience, and how to get tickets at radioacademy.org/festival. Please like and subscribe to the Radio Academy podcast wherever you get your pods, so you never miss an episode. And if you fancy giving us a review, then we'd be really grateful. Thanks. Next week, we're back to full-length episodes as we hear from our MD Aradnatar Leach, recorded live at our Birmingham Summer Social event, talking about her role 1 year on. I'll see you next week.